Greetings, Metalheads. Welcome to another edition of the Friday 13th YouTube channel. Today, you're going to be watching an interview with a Texas progressive power metal band called Transcendence. Now, the band have just released their second album. It's called Nothing Etched in Stone, Part 1, and it's being released on Cosmic Fire Records. Check it out, folks, if you're a fan of Savatage, Eternity X, Crimson Glory, Fate's Warning. This is a band for you. I want to thank Kurt for doing this interview, so please subscribe, let them know what you think, and thanks for watching. I want to thank you for doing this interview. So, folks, we're talking to Kurt from the band Transcendence. Welcome to Friday 13th YouTube channel. Now, this is the second interview we've done, but the first one was done when I did the fanzine back in the day, the printed magazine, if you remember. So, we're going to ask you some warm-up questions. As a musician, when did you learn to play your instrument? What age was you when you started to play?
Oh, I started maybe some people would consider that late. It was like 17 or 18 years old. Had a buddy that just, I played basketball with from time to time, and he, played rhythm guitar and just kind of said, "Hey, you should pick that up and do it," And I was like, okay, So I always loved music, but I just never had, picked up an instrument, and done it in that way. So that's what happened.
So, it was bass guitar you're playing now, yeah?
Yes, yeah.
So, so,
He played with a couple of the guys, and they needed a bass guitar, so I just kind of just defaulted into that, So it was fine, and I was happy with it. So
so why did you switch from guitar to bass?
no, I never played guitar. It was always bass.
Okay, then.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
as who were
yeah.
your influences then? Who was your influences growing up? Which bass players inspired you?
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, the big three for me is definitely Geddy Lee from Rush, standard answer everybody gives. Chris Squire of Yes, of course Steve Harris from Maiden, and if I can throw another one out like Geezer Butler from Sabbath, those are all those kind of you know people love those kind of players, and that was definitely and a list of many others, but those were like the big three or four, So
So was anybody in your family musically inspired that played instruments, or was it just yourself?
actually, my dad, he he's 88, he's about to be 89. He sang like in those old 50s doo-wop bands. I mean, he was like a backup singer. So doing the whole doo-wop thing. I mean, so
Yeah, the
he just
doo wop, doo wop. Yeah.
exactly. He's actually got a 45 that he was on way back in the day. It's a kind of a funny little tune. It's very parody sounding. It was real funny, and I busted it out one time. We listened to it, and we all just died laughing at it. But I mean, it's cool, So that's what he did. He did it for fun back in the day.
All right, then. So, what was your very first band? Can you remember your very first band? Did you record any demos? Anything that we should be aware of?
Yeah, well, not that you'll be able to find it anywhere. I was in this band. It was a three-piece, and I actually was the singer and bass player for that band. We were just like three guys that wanted to be Rush, and obviously we weren't going to be Rush because there was already a Rush, but we were very, influenced by them, and we did like a tape. It was just like a couple of songs that weren't even ours. I mean, they were just covers, just to put them out there and have like a package you could send out to clubs where you could demo yourself to be, do gigs and stuff like that. That's all it was. So, never anything original.
All right, so there's nothing out there that we can be looking out for, like any demos on YouTube or anything. Nothing of
Oh no,
other
no.
bands now.
I don't think I even have a copy anymore. I think it's probably like disintegrated into a million pieces. It's so old. So I mean, who knows? I don't have it. That's for sure. So
So, what bands was you in before Transcendence then? Or was just the only band that you were in that were actually recorded an album? Was you anything before
uh,
that?
yeah. So that band is me and these two guys. We were called Circuit, and then Infrared was the one after that. That was like a five piece where I played bass, and then we were set up kind of like Queensryche or Maiden. It was two guitars, bass, drums, vocals, and we did we did several demos, and we did a full length CD. Um, gosh, and once again, if you could find that on the internet somewhere, I'd be shocked.
Do you
Um,
actually own it, Kurt? Do you have it?
I have a copy of it somewhere.
Can you send it
Somewhere
to
in
me? Can you send it to me so I can have a listen? Can you send it in an email? I'd
Yeah,
love to
I
hear
could go and dig it out somewhere. I'd have
it.
to look
Please.
through some boxes, I mean, but I did have this box full of, we had so many pressed up, and those boxes got distributed to this and that, other guys in the band and whatnot. And then I had a box somewhere, and some people asked for some way back a long time ago. And then I thought, well, I'm kind of running low, and I think I kept a couple for me, but they're in a box somewhere. I'll have to dig it out. But I mean,
Yeah.
I certainly could. I'd make an effort to obviously send it to you. That'd be great. I mean,
I'd
so
love
you
to
could
hear
have
it,
a,
Kat. Well, that's
yeah, you
definitely
could,
hear it.
yeah, you might have a chuckle over it or whatever. Who knows? Maybe you'd like it. I don't know. We'll see.
All right then. So you did an album. Was it a self-financed thing, or did you release it through a label?
It was a small, label in Texas. Basically, I think somebody saw us at a club one time playing and said, you know, they, approached us about it. I mean, it was, like a small little record label deal, but it wasn't anything major. It was just, we're going to do this and we'll press 1,000 copies and we'll put it out there. And that was kind of it, so it really wasn't any big deal at all. So, but it was fine. We were happy to do it. So,
Oh, then. So Transcendence. Obviously, the name came from Crimson Glory, I presume.
well, I mean, I don't want to say yes or no on that. I will say this, just so you know the story. Um, we we had a name before Transcendence, and it was Meridian was our name. Hence, the first album was called the Meridian Project because
Yeah,
while we were
right.
recording it, we were called Meridian at that point. Before we had it, when we
Hello.
had the
Sorry,
recording
that you
done,
broke up.
every,
Then what? You
our old
broke
singer
up.
Greg would say,
You,
"Oh, sorry." When you were doing the album, the Meridian Project, we were called Meridian. Um, Before we had anything done with the CD as far as pressing it or making copies, Greg, our old singer, said um, uh, we should be smart about this and check with a lawyer, make sure nobody has this name. So we paid a lawyer, and he looked it up and said, "Yep, somebody's got it. You can't use it." I mean, or they could come back on you and say something about it, and stop you. And you don't want to press all these CDs out and throw them in the trash. So we went looking for a new name, and I think we sent out a mass email just saying, hey, send us some names. People just started like, going in and sending us names. Transcendence was one of the names that got sent in by somebody, and I knew a band named Transcendence back in the early '90s that played around our area, and so I always liked the name, but I was like, I feel like I'm stealing it from these guys. I mean, and then but everybody else in the band liked it. I liked it too. And obviously we knew about Crimson Glory, of course, because I love Crimson Glory, I'm a big fan. And our singer Greg just said, "Well, let's have the lawyer look it up, and see if anybody has it, and if anybody's service marked it or trademarked." And he looked up, and said, "Nope, you guys are free to use it if you want. If you want to spend the money, you can service mark it." So I said, "Well, I still know these guys." I said, "But I don't know them anymore." But I said, "I remember them." I said, "Well, they're not using the name," so we went ahead and went with it. So that's kind of really how it happened. But yeah, Crimson Glory. Obviously I'm well aware of that album, Transcendence, and I always thought that was a cool name. So that's got to be part of it, I would say. So anyway, there's
I've
your
still
answer.
got. I've still got the T-shirt that you sent me, the Meridian Project, the little square album cover.
Oh yeah, right, yeah,
And it still
yeah.
fits.
Oh, cool. That's good. Probably faded a little bit, but yeah, I have
Nice.
one. I have one somewhere. So
All right, then. So
uh,
the Meridian Project. I mean, it's a really, really great album. Obviously, it's got that Crimson Glory element in the guitar tone. And the same with the new album, you've got that elements of Crimson Glory, Fate's Warning.
mhm.
What other inspirations inspired you to do that first album? What other bands like were you trying to kind of sound like, but not sound like?
Oh gosh, everybody's in the band's got all these different influences, and uh, you know, everybody's inspired by their instruments. Obviously Jeff loves all these different guitar players. From Ingve to Steve Vai to this and that. Certainly loves Crimson Glory. Certainly loves all these other bands too. Dream Theater. All that good stuff. Um, and I mean the the range of people we listen to and what goes on, and the influences. John's into all sorts of stuff for keyboard players, into all sorts of stuff. It's just crazy some of the stuff he listens to. I just go, I don't know about this stuff. I mean, but it's fine. So, and obviously, like I mentioned, all those bands that I talked about. All the kind of the Yes, the Yes, Rush, and all those bands like that, and they kind of do a little more of a dash of progressive. that kind of stuff. So, and metal, of course.
I mean, that first album came out in 2002. Very, very bland cover. Why did he start to do like a bland cover? Just a flower leaf on it, like
Yeah,
a plant.
right.
What was the idea of a plant?
You know what? It's funny. Once again, we had this person working on all that stuff. I think it was this artist that somebody knew in the band, and they submitted like a ton of just different idea cover wise, and just all sorts of different images that were completely different. And I remember that one just kind of, for some reason, it came across, and we all just looked at it and said, "I don't know why, but this is the one." It's hard to explain. But we just started to think, okay, well, there's this little, this little, whatever you want to call it, a weed or whatever you want to call it, a little flower or whatever it is, a little plant that seems to be, submerged in all this dry looking area. And of course, the whole album, if you look at the sleeve, which you
Yeah,
have, it's all
yeah,
like
yeah.
sand. It's almost like this little life in this big area that looks like there should be no life here. And then, of course, the CD itself had the water on it. And then when you lifted it out, it was like a dry creek bed underneath it. So that idea just kind of just stuck with us, and it kind of, you know, the journey of that, and the way it's just, even this desolate area, there's always hope, I guess is how we looked at it. So that's kind of where it went. Um, it just connected for some reason. It just connected. But you're right, when everybody's looked at it and said, what is with that? Or not that I ever make fun of it, but it was just an interesting concept. So we all connected to it, and we liked it, so we picked it.
So when you released it yourselves, self-financed, and then Lion Music, I believe, released it later on.
Right,
Why did
licensing
it?
deal.
Yeah, why did it take? Why did it take so long to get released on Lion Music? Did you approach the labels?
I, gosh, I would think he approached us. I don't know if he. I don't
Lastly,
know. I don't know how it happened. I don't remember. I mean, something about, yeah, we got approached about it, and he sent over everything and said, it's the licensing distribution deal, and we were like, why not? He sent the contracts over. We had a lawyer look at it. The guy said, looks like to me it's a win-win. And so we went, okay. More distribution is fine. So why not? It's homemade. We did it. Cool. Let's do it. So we just did it.
so
So
did it sell well with it being released through Lion Music? And did Lion offer you a deal afterwards?
no, they didn't. They didn't offer us a deal. I don't know if it's just personal reasons, or the dude was busy, or I don't know. Um, it was just a one-time thing. So we were moving on to whatever we were going to do. Um, I don't remember much. I would say I don't remember much of how much it sold or not. I really, obviously we didn't make $1 million on it. I know that. So, it's, there's the thing I can tell you. It's just like anything. If it's homemade, I don't want to say your expectations are low, but we got approached by this. We were just doing it because we wanted to do it. So that's always my philosophy. I'm going to record it regardless. We're going to make the songs. If one person hears it or a million people hear it, we're going to do it because I do it for, artistic reasons. It's a venting of your creativity.
Yeah,
You want to do
I've
it.
got the original CD that you sent me that you put out yourselves, your own label.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cool,
But
cool.
it's a really great album. It's like the lineup was really really great. The original singer, what a great voice he had. What happened
Oh,
to
yeah,
him? What
yeah, yeah,
happened
yeah.
to Greg? What happened to him?
Well, he, just like all of us, busy as all get out. Got family, kids, blah blah. Life has a way of creeping up on you. I mean, when we did this album, the Nothing Etched in Stone, he was involved and was doing it with us. And then he got a good majority of the tracks done, and called me one day and said he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to finish. And I think he'd been thinking about it a long time. And so, he didn't. He just, he was just kind of wanted out. He just didn't. He just said he just didn't want to finish it. And that was it. So I just said, well, I don't. You got to do what you got to do. I'm not mad at him. I just, for some reason that was it. And I don't want to say he didn't give me a reason. He just said he just didn't want to do it. he just was really busy and just didn't want to continue on. So I said, okay, well, and
So what about
off.
what about Jeff and John? Why did they leave the band?
Huh?
Why did Jeff and John leave the band, the original from the first album?
Oh no, they're on it. John
Right,
and Jeff are
okay.
on it. Yeah, yeah. John and Jeff are on it. Everybody else is. Well, I mean, obviously Eric isn't. He wasn't the drummer that played on the Breeding Project
Right.
because John von Rosenberg did. But Derek joined us. You know, way before the album got done. This one, I mean, so Derek's the drummer, and Jeff and John are still on it. They're on it.
Oh, cool.
Um, yeah, and then just obviously we had to. Well, we met Brian, and he did the album. So and that was a
So,
process as well.
so when you look back at the first album, what's your favorite songs?
Oh, okay, yeah. First album. Well, going down the track listing, I liked everything on the album, of course, but I think some just nudge out a little ahead for me as far as like Endless Rain, the first track on the album. No Trace was another one. Um, I'd say The Fall Meridian just because it's short and sweet and it's an instrumental and it just kind of gets its point across and gets it done. Random Light because I think that one's just real unique, and of course Alpha Omega because it's the last track on the album and it's big and long and instrumental and then singing and it's got like clean. It's got a little bit of everything. You know, Israel's another track I thought was really good on it too. I mean, once again, I like the other ones too. I think those ones just are a little ahead of those for my personal favorites.
Did it
So
get good reviews, then, Kurt? Did you get good reviews for that album?
yeah, yeah. I mean, typically, what got said was I thought was pretty cool. It was good. I liked it. I don't remember anything negative being said about it. Maybe there was. I mean, the obvious things of the production could be better. I mean, but I mean that's
I think the production's great, considering it was self financed.
yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. So appreciate it. Thank you. But it is what it is. I mean, it's not as good as what you would as like this one is as far as production, but it was fine. I was good with it. But um, there might be a few little negative things people would say, but we always got pretty positive feedback on it all the time. So
Another band that you remind me of, other than Crimson Glory, Eternity X. Do you remember those guys?
I don't. I
Band
don't.
from
I'll have to look.
Band from New Jersey.
I'll have to look them up.
Kind of like Crimson Glory, Savatage.
Oof. Well, those are once again. I love both those bands, so I'm gonna look those up. I'll write that down. Eternity X. I'll look those guys up for
Eternity
sure.
X, they're called.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll look that up for sure.
I don't
So
think they're going anymore. I don't think they exist anymore, but they did albums in the 90s, late
okay,
80s.
cool.
They did about
I'll
four
check out their
albums.
stuff.
About four albums, I think they did.
Very cool. Very cool. I'll look them up for sure.
So,
So,
so, so the new album, Nothing Edged in Stone, Part One. Now, I remember you sending me this album, and it
mhm.
was like it had about 20 songs on it. What happened to the rest of the album? Because people that are buying this, they've probably read my review that I did online and gone, well,
Right, right, right,
where's this other album that he's on about?
right, right,
Tell
right.
me a little
It's
about
not.
it because it was like a double album, but you've
Yeah, it was double. Yeah,
shortened it.
yeah.
What happened? What
No,
happened?
no. Well, it's still coming. I mean,
So have I got part two still then?
yeah. Part two's coming. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. So obviously it wouldn't fit on one CD. It was like 86 minutes, which
Yeah.
won't fit on a CD. So we when Cosmic Fire, the people that did this album that are distributing it, it's another licensing deal, distribution deal. Um, when we let him listen to it, Thanos, he that's just a suggestion he made. He said it would just be better if we released it as one and two, because of the packaging and everything else. It's kind of just a it's just he's a marketing guy and he knows what he's doing. And he said, would you be opposed to doing a part one, have it be the first CD, and then later we'll release part two, and so you'll get a whole nother uh, image shot and all the sleeves and all that good stuff. And we're like, sure, why not? I mean, uh, we're fine with that, because it was just his suggestion. We thought, well, that's okay, that's a good idea. So I think it was I think he said also that there was, if I remember correctly, it was something about the packaging was way more expensive to put two in it, something, and so he just preferred it. So okay, so that's how it got done. So it is coming. That part two is coming. So and it'll be all those ones that you've already heard, obviously, so
So who's singing on the one I've got then? Is it Brian or is it the
it's
Greg?
Brian. It's
Brian.
Brian.
Okay, right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, because Greg, like I said, when he did the tracks, he got about, I don't know, 60 or 70% of it done. And then that's when he called me and said he was going to exit. And so, we had to start all over with Brian and redo the whole thing, and actually when we found Brian, I was just wanting to salvage what we had left and have him just finish, which I didn't really want. But I mean, but Brian said, well, do you want two singers on this? He goes, I'm willing to do the whole thing. We're like, oh, okay. I was just trying to get out of the studio with what I had. And because we were like, oh no, we're sunk. I mean, this, we're not going to finish this thing. And this is awful. I mean, but Brian's made that suggestion. I was like, oh, when we first got you in, we thought you'd just finish up what we had. And that way we could, get out, and be done. And, but he wanted to do the whole thing. I was like, okay, we're going to start all over. But, this is going to add more time to it. But that's really ultimately what we wanted, was to have one singer do it, obviously.
So did you keep the ones with Greg then? Did you keep those songs? Have you kept them versions? Somewhere
No,
safe? No.
no. I mean, I think we had versions of a few of them, and then, um, man, I might have something somewhere, but man, I really don't think I do anymore, because obviously we went through and we were able to keep Greg's versions, obviously, because they were already there, and then that was a template for Brian to hear what we had worked on, so he could take it and make it his own, and 2.0 it per se, and do it Brian's way, add his flair to it and whatnot. So Brian's been real good about, if he likes something we did, he's like, I'm not changing that. I'm going to keep it exactly the same, but maybe I'll do this here, or maybe I'll go up here or down here. I'm like, yeah, that's great. If change is for the better, I'm good with it. I mean, so I'm real open to new ideas or better ideas, of course. So I'm not some weird ego guy that says, no, it's my way. I mean, it's always cool. Whatever we're doing, it's cool.
So Brian was introduced to you by Travis Wills from Crimson Glory. Is that correct?
Correct. Travis was obviously not with Crimson Glory at the time.
Yeah.
He sang in a band here, Infidel Rising, here in DFW in Texas. And somebody hooked us up with Travis, and I knew they existed, of course, and whatnot. I didn't know him. And then he actually sent us some stuff he had done to kind of audition for us. And, I liked his voice. And after a little while, it was pretty quick, because he was, super busy too. Obviously Crimson Glory wasn't in the picture at that point, but he had his own band. I think he was singing for maybe one or two bands, I think. And of course he's got family and we all have jobs and blah, 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 life. Anyway, he was real honest with us and just said, man, I just don't think I can carve out the time, to do this. And he said, but I do know a guy, that I could give you his number, Brian. And that was it, so Brian had some stuff that we could look at and hear, or I think he had something on YouTube that we could see with another band he was in before. And when I heard his voice, I was like, yeah, great, so there you go. So we got hooked up with him through Travis, so
got a great voice.
Yes. And Travis is amazing. Travis is amazing.
Yeah, he is. I've heard the Crimson Glory song, the new Crimson Glory song, which is cool.
Oh, is that Tridakis, or however you say it? I mean, it's like a real long name. Is that the one?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I've heard it too. It's great. Yeah, and Travis, I can't say enough good stuff about Travis. I mean, because the stuff I heard he did with Infidel, I thought was great. But this stuff, like what he's doing now, I mean, it's like, I don't know if he's taking his vitamins or what he's doing, but whatever he's doing, it's working. I just think he's just way better than I already thought he was. So good for him. I'm real excited for him.
So you've released this yourselves, but Cosmic Fire Records are distributing it. Is that correct?
Correct. It's kind of exactly like the Meridian Project deal. I mean, we did it. We did it obviously in a better studio. I mean, we didn't do it ourselves. We recorded it at Fort Worth Sound with Bart Rose, and he's really cool and amazing, and he's a great engineer, and I just loved working with him. Him and I could goof around and laugh about stuff, and it was great. So he made the process real, comfortable, and was not, he's super busy, so he's got people all the time coming in and out of the studio. So
who did you work with? Okay.
Oh God, anybody and everybody. I mean, man, his board was always filled up, his calendar with just people, bands. I mean, I can't even remember all the bands, but getting in there to record with him because we were going in and out of the studio all the time. We were kind of budgeting it. Okay, we can get in here and do this, and we can get back out, and we can get back in and get back out. So sometimes it'd be like, oh my gosh, look at his calendar, it's filled. So it's like, well, we can't get in here for a month, or whatever. It was kind of that. It was kind of very sporadic in and out. That's why it took a while. It took a while, to record this because it was just that and all the other things that happened with Greg finishing and not finishing it. So it was a process.
Right then, I'm looking at the album cover now behind me, as you can see.
Yes.
It very much reminds me of Independence Day. When you look at the movie, the actual billboard for it, it kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah.
Whose idea was it to do this? It's kind of weird. It's a great cover compared to the first one with the flower.
Oh yeah. Yeah, completely different feel. I mean, obviously Thanos did it and his team or whoever did it. But I never looked at it like Independence Day. Now I'm going to. Now that you said that, now every time I look, I'm going to think of that. But that's fine. I see it now that you're telling me that, so it's cool. So great.
So I mean, what other ideas did you have for this album title and cover?
As far as names of the album,
yeah, Nothing Etched in Stone Part 1. What else did you have? Any other titles?
No, that was always the beginning of me wanting to do this. It was just it's kind of funny. It was a phrase we used to throw around when we were rehearsing and working up songs. You'd have kind of like, okay, here's something new. We're throwing a riff out. We're throwing a chord progression out. Jeff would bring in a lot of stuff, and we'd start working it between all of us, and then we'd kind of find a working order that wasn't going to be the working order until we said it was done, vocally and written lyrics and melodies and whatnot. So we'd always say, well, we're gonna do it 2 measures here, 2 measures here. For now, nothing's etched in stone, but when it is, we'll let everybody know. We don't say that, and that was a phrase that just got said all the time. And our old drummer John von Rosenberg said we should call our next album that because we say it all the time, and it kind of stuck in my head. And I kept thinking, well, you could kind of take that simple, stupid phrase that we said and kind of turn it into something deeper, in the sense of life and how it's you never know what's going to come about and you shouldn't paint yourself into a corner or always think it's always going to be this way because change occurs, and you should be trying to change for the better all the time. So that's kind of really it was always Nothing Etched in Stone was always my thought of this is going to be the title, that's it. So album cover, that's obviously that's Thanos' thing, so there you go.
So what about the next album, Part 2? What are you having for a cover? Have you got any ideas?
I don't. I think we're gonna kind of leave it to Thanos again. I mean, obviously he did this one and he did a fantastic job. So that's kind of his forte. As the flower and everything else. I mean, that's not my talent.
It's like a hippie, isn't it? A hippie cover. Flower power dude. Flower power dude.
That's right. I mean, that's not our forte. I'm not a creative person like that. I don't do artwork and stuff like that. No. I just admire it when I know something I like. That's.
Is this released as a T-shirt? This album cover?
Not that I know of.
It should be.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, I've seen something that Thanos has made, which is basically just the logo behind you and that symbol underneath.
Yeah.
That looks like the T, but it's all kind of looks like
And it's just like it looks like that too. It kind of reminds me of Todd Latore's solo album. He has a logo similar.
Oh, is that right? Oh, okay. Yeah, the guy that sang for Queen, right?
Yeah.
And Chris Agoi too. He sang, yeah.
He's got his own solo album. He's kind of got like kind of same sort of symbol as you guys.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't know he did a solo album. I just thought he was
it's great, man. It's like Overkill, Testament, but it's like really cool stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, I love his voice, and he's great. He's something, so I'll check that out for sure.
I'll send you a link so you can check it out. But moving on, Kurt. So, what's your favorite songs from this new album?
Okay, so part 1, got some that just kind of, once again, I love everything, but just kind of edge out a little ahead of the rest. Take Control. It's a banger, and it's power, drive. I dig that. Probably my favorite track on the whole, part 1 and part 2, is The Edge Awaits. I just really think we captured kind of the moodiness that we were going for and the emotion of it. And I just really like the way it came out. production wise, I mean, I think everything production wise is great, but that one just really is kind of more like everything just fell right into place. I like Before the Dawn, the last track on the album. And if you have the CD, well, I mean, like I said, I think there's a bonus track on there too on the CD.
Yeah, there is. It's called Open the Skies.
Open the Sky. That one we did with Travis, which that's a different story. So, but
yeah.
I really like that one. But Travis did a great job of producing it and making it sound really good. And then let me think if there's any other that I think that just kind of edges out.
Do you know what? On one I really like, Kurt, is Shades of Winter.
Oh, okay, yeah,
that's an awesome song.
Yeah, thank you. I like that one a lot too. I mean, like I said, I love
very Savatage, that one.
Oh yeah, the intro for sure. Oh man, yeah, and obviously all that stuff that they did. I was a huge Savatage fan, huge fan. And certainly Dead Winter Dead is like one of my favorite albums they did, and obviously Hall of the Mountain King and stuff like that. But all that kind of orchestrated stuff that they did, I thought was just so wicked. And of course, the Trans-Siberian and all that stuff that kind of went with it. So great stuff.
So what sort of reviews have you been getting? Obviously, you've seen my review. What's the press been saying?
It's good. It's really good. There's been a few. A few in the midst of those. Even the reviews, we've gotten a few negative comments. It's been majority really good. Just a few negative things saying here and there, but nothing major. I mean, nothing that made me. I mean, I don't care. I mean, people say what they say. I'm fine with it. I appreciate the honesty. Really. I mean, I take it and I run with it. I don't sit around and dwell on it and get upset about it. I go, well, okay. Maybe. I mean. Everybody's been saying real positive things. Somebody says, well, I'd like to hear more little variety of some guy said something about more variety of tempo, I believe is what he's talking about, the pacing of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's fine. I mean, too many mid-tempo songs for him. Okay, that's cool.
So he said a bit more up-tempo stuff on the album.
Yeah. Well, a variety more. Whereas he felt it was more mid-tempo, and I was like, well, but most of the bands I get into, this is kind of where they stay in their lane too. I mean, it's not all over the place. I mean, Savatage mainly does stuff that's mid-tempo. I mean, they don't do like, this is real fast and this is real slow. I mean, they kind of do that too. So it's fine. It's Guy's opinion. I'm fine with it.
Do you know what, Kurt? What would be great for you to tour with Crimson Glory in Europe when their new album's finished? You should tour with Crimson Glory when their new album's released.
Well,
that'd be great in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously even rubbing elbows that goes would be great. I mean, so. And obviously, I know Travis, because I've been to his house a bunch of times, and I've known him. So, but they're fantastic. And obviously a tour is a tour, but I mean, of course, I mean that's kind of a given.
Well, right, Kurt, I want to thank you for doing this interview. Do you have anything to say to the people watching this on YouTube before we end?
Well, just thank anybody that's listening to it, and I hope everybody's digging on it. I mean. Obviously, if you give somebody the goosebumps or make them feel good about it or inspire them, just enjoy the music. Like I've enjoyed music all my years. I mean, everybody we already talked about, all these bands, I just consider it a gift. So if somebody digs on it, wonderful. Then I'm happy. So it's great.
Great. So, folks, if you want to check out a great album, check out Transcendence new album. If you're a fan of Fates Warning, Eternity X, and Crimson Glory, you're going to love this band. Check them out. So, Kurt, I want to thank you for doing this interview. Have a fantastic day.
You too.
Good luck, my friend, with the album, and keep in touch, and please share this interview when it's online. Cheers, Kurt. Take care.
Thanks, man.
Gas for me. Thanks, brother.
Right. Thanks,
Bye.
man.
See ya. Bye.